Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ayesha. This is Hany. And we've been asked to run a workshop on self-awareness, emotional healing, and health. So this workshop is going to be very different from the workshops that we usually run, which is very political. So by no means are we experts at this. You guys are more experts than we are, since you guys have really been through so much that we can't even begin to understand. So we're going to really use this time to learn from each other.
And basically we don't know what we're doing at all, just so you guys have a good heads up. We sat down and we just basically wrote, what do we want to do for ourselves? Like what kind of problems do we see in our own lives? You know, what stops us from doing the things that we want to do? What kind of health problems we have? What kind of issues do we see that, you know, it gets in our way to actually bring about that transformative change? So we just wrote it up, designed a little program that so we can all kind of learn together, like Ayesha said. And everything is also fluid, so if at any moment you think we should change something or do something differently, just feel very comfortable to just throw it out there.
So I guess we wanted to start with a little icebreaker activity for ourselves to get comfortable with each other. So we're going to be writing a self-reflection poem. So I hope everyone has a blue sheet of paper and a pen or pencil. Please raise your hand if you do not have one of those things.
And this is basically, you know, we all, you know, want to express ourselves at times, privately, publicly, whatever, and oftentimes we don't have enough time to do it, or we don't, you know, make enough time to take the initiative. So this right here is just a personal thing. It's not something you have to reveal to anybody. It's not something you have to read out loud. So it might just be something you just express on paper. Just you can visualize your words and your thoughts, you know, your thoughts on paper, and then you can just fold it up, put it in your pocket, or put it in the garbage, or you can, you know, read it to people later. I can tell you now, I'm not going to read mine out loud, because I'm going to try to be very honest and express myself, and I know it's going to be something very embarrassing. So, but you can write, you know, whatever you want, but I just wanted to say that so you don't hold back with expressing yourself.
So please write the words "I am" in the middle of the top of your paper and underline it. That's your title. I am. Now the first stanza is going to start with "I am," and think of two special characteristics that describe you. What are two things that make you unique? So it could be "I am energetic and loving," or "I am blank and blank." So write that down. I am two things that describe you. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to read it out loud. So under that line, I want you to write "I wonder," and write something that you're really curious about. So under that line, you're going to write "I hear," and I want you to write your favorite sound, a sound that calms you or makes you feel good, or any sound that you want to write. Under that line, I want you to write "I see," and write your favorite sight. Oh, sorry, I wrote you that.
And as you can tell, this doesn't have to rhyme, obviously.
Okay, so after "I see," you're going to write "I want," and put something you really want. And then you're going to repeat the first line of your poem, "I am," and you repeat those two special characteristics that describe you. Okay, now that's your first stanza. There's three stanzas of this poem. So I guess we'll have to go.
We'll write smaller.
Okay. So the second stanza, you're going to start it with "I pretend." And you're going to write something that you actually pretend to do sometimes. Like, I pretend to be strong, or I pretend to be tough. But sometimes, you know, we show up in the world differently from how we actually do. And after pretend, you're going to write I feel, and write something that you feel very strongly about. Okay, after I feel, you're going to write I touch. Not like the eye touch, but I touch. And put anything that you really like to touch, or it could be an imaginary thing that you're touching, but your favorite feeling. After I touch is I worry, and put something that you really worry about. Something that bothers you. After I worry, you're gonna write I cry. And write something that you cry about, or you could cry about, or if you never cried, maybe the one time that something made you cry, what that was. So I cry and describe a moment. After I cry, you're gonna repeat the same line, I am. It's the first line of your poem. And you're gonna repeat that again, I am, and your two characteristics that describe you. Last stanza, so please turn your paper around to fit it. You need more paper, anyone? Okay. Where's the blue packet? Can you give out the rest of the, who needs more paper? Oh. Okay, so the last stanza is going to start with I understand, and you're going to put something that you really believe is true. So after I understand, you're going to write I say. And put something that you really believe in. I say, something that you might always say out loud. And if you don't say stuff out loud, then something you really believe in. After I say, you're going to write I dream, and put something you dream for, dream about. After I dream, you're going to write I try, and put something you really make an effort for. After I try, it's I hope, and something you really hope for. After I hope, you're going to repeat the first line of your poem, I am, and the two special characteristics. Of course, this is completely optional and there's no pressure, but does anyone want to share their poem? You can share a little bit of it, you can share one line, whatever you want.
I wrote, I am carefree and caring. I wonder why people get shorter as they grow older. I hear people laughing with me, not at me. I see my mom smile. I want everybody to be as happy as me, if not happier. I am carefree and caring. I pretend to be confident. I feel that pretending to be confident only helps me to be more confident. I touch my cat when she's not angry. I worry that I'll be sad again. I cry when I'm told that I'm not good at doing something that I love. I am carefree and caring. And I understand why people do stupid things. I say that it's okay to be who you are, regardless of what others tell you. I dream for everyone to express themselves in a positive way. I try to become a better person for myself. I hope that one day I'll accept my physical appearance. I am carefree and caring.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead, Kat.
I am honest and irritable. I wonder why I'm so afraid of trials, like doing trials. I hear my son laughing with his friends. I see shimmering pools of water. I want people out of prison. I'm honest and irritable. I pretend I am not terrified. I feel love is bigger than fear. I touch the flowing water of a river. I worry I can't do anything to help. I cry about innocence lost. I am honest and irritable. I understand everything is complicated. I say we can't give up hope. I dream of people seeing the goodness in each other. I try to keep fighting when it feels hopeless. I hope Americans will come to their senses. I am honest and irritable.
So, once again, we're not experts at all, but just from like my personal experience, part of healing from traumatic events is expressing yourself and sharing. And so the next exercise we're going to do is a listening circle. And I want us to have smaller groups, so I think we're going to break up into groups of 6. And so many times when we have conversations, we don't even listen to each other because we're thinking of the next thing that we're going to say to someone. And so the way listening circles work is everyone has a certain amount of time that they're allowed to speak and nobody can interrupt them. And you go in order around the circle so that every single person has a turn. But no one is forced to talk. If you really don't want to say anything, you just say pass and you go on to the next person. And so this is really your time to say whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to share. And this is actually like an ancient Native American tradition, and this is how they use, this is the technique that they use to deal with different community conflicts. So when something traumatic or something big happened in their community, they would have these listening circles, and everyone would get a chance to share their opinion on the issue. The next exercise, we're going to do a little talking exercise in pairs so that we loosen up a little bit. So let's see, you two can meet together, you two of you, maybe the 3 of you guys, 2, or maybe the 3 of you guys, since you're sitting next to each other. Okay, and then, oh yeah, you guys can talk. So I want you guys to take about a minute to discuss in your pair or in your trio, when do you feel the most out of balance in your life? When do you feel the most out of balance in your life? Okay, guys, so now you can continue with that conversation, but I want you to add one more thing to the discussion, which is, what do you do to try and get back to feeling like your old self? What do you do to try to get back to feeling like your balanced self? Okay? Okay, so last question. Think about the things that would make you feel balanced, like your health, spirituality, education, whatever is important to you. And I want you to talk about what you think your strengths are and what you think your weakest is. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So take about a minute. Okay, so we are going to create our own Wheel of Life worksheet right now. You guys are going to custom make your own. And this is an attempt to try to balance out our lives, to figure out what we're weakest in, what we have a lot of strengths in, and figure out how we can maintain some type of balance. So it would be unfair for us to tell you what's important to you, right? Because some person might have sleep, health, education, what's something else? Family, career, but that might not be important to you. Fitness, yeah. So right now I want you to think of the 8 most important things for yourself that you want to be balanced in. And let me give you some ideas. Relationships is one. So first I want you to think of the roles you play in life. For example, husband, wife, right? Father, mother, manager, co-worker, community leader, friend. So think of your roles in your life, okay? Then I want you to think of the areas in your life that are important to you, like artistic expression, right? Or having a positive attitude, or career, education, finances, right? Financial freedom, friends, physical challenges, like if working out is important to you, pleasure, if entertainment's important to you, or public service, if social justice is important to you. And I want you to write down 8 of those things that are very important to you in your life. Okay? So guys, take some time, a minute or two, with your pens and fill in those lines. So once you guys write down your 8 things that are important to you, I want you to rate yourself in each of these categories. So you see these little boxes on your sheet of paper? Each box represents 2 points. So this middle point is 0, and the edge of your circle is 10. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And you're gonna put a dot exactly where you think you lie for each of your categories. So health, I think I'm at about a 5 right now because I don't exercise at all, but I'm pretty healthy, right? So I might put this here. Career, I'm here. I'm really happy with my job, so I'm at a 10 for that. So I want you guys to rate yourself. So once you rate yourselves, now of course, you can't expect every single thing to be balanced because certain things need more attention than others. Like family might need more attention than friends, right? So you're not expected to have equal ranks for everything. But once you rank yourself and put those dots, I want you to connect the dots. Okay, so you might be going to a 5, to an 8, a 7, to a 2. I told you I'm putting myself out there, over here. And I want you to connect your circle and see what your balance looks like. So I don't seem very balanced. So of course, in a perfect world, a circle represents balance, right? But once again, you need to decide what's important to you because you might not need a full circle because one part of your life might not be as important. So it wouldn't be a complete circle necessarily. So once you connect your circle, I want you to analyze your circle and see where you think you need to improve and where you think you might need to cut back. Let's say you're a health nut and you go to the gym like 5 times a day and you're at a 10 here for health, but let's say you're not really working on your spirituality. You might need to actually go down in health and become more balanced so you could spend more time on something else. So next to each thing, I want you to put your ideal score. Okay, so maybe for health, I just want a 7. I don't want a 10 because I want to add more to my intellectual growth. So put your ideal score for each of your 8 categories. Okay, so you guys see the 2 sections on the bottom of your sheet, right? Things I will start doing to regain balance in my life, and things I will stop doing, reprioritize, or delegate, which means give to someone else. So now look at your wheel and see what you're going to do so that you can improve on the parts that you scored badly on, and what you're going to do to take away some responsibilities for the ones that you want to decrease your score a little bit on. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so we listed some general things that we want to work on in our lives, but now we're going to pick 3 of the most important ones, and we're going to write very specific, measurable goals, because otherwise it never gets done. I mean, in general. We can say, like, for example, look, I wrote, I will find volunteers to help me facilitate some of my youth programs. But by when? I didn't say when and how. If we don't say that, then we just usually make these promises to ourselves and then we never follow through with it. So we're going to practice writing very measurable, realistic, and we're going to work on creating goals that we can hold ourselves accountable to. Okay, so you have to set time limits. Okay, so you're writing your 3 goals down on the bottom of your worksheet. and be very specific with time limits. And if your goal is too big, you need to break it down into smaller parts. You might want to write your smaller goal. So an example of breaking something down, if you want to write a book, right? It's going to be hard to say, I will write a book by June. So maybe you want to say, I will write 3 pages of the first, or 3 chapters, or I'll write the first 5 pages of my first chapter by, what's today's date? January. So by February 1st, I will have written one chapter.
You
of
mean
my-
when you set a goal, you have to be determined.
Yes.
You do it.
Exactly.
Don't lie to yourself. Just, oh, I'm going to.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be specific and break it into smaller chunks to work through
Make
it.
sure, yeah.
So my goal was I'm going to read the Quran, right? And that was that's really long. Okay, I'm being very honest with you guys. So I wrote my goal that I will read 5 pages a day starting today. And then therefore I will be done reading the Quran by June, whatever. And then it's much easier to get done because you just cut it into different slices. So when you write your goals, it doesn't have to be a big goal.
Yeah.
You can write your smaller goal that will lead to your bigger goal. And then you could check your progress. So maybe after 2 weeks, you'll say, oh, did I read 5 pages every day? But you have to be able to hold yourself accountable by checking on yourself. So I'm going to give you guys more time to finish your goal. And then post it somewhere, because it's really hard when you're seeing it every day. If you post it on your fridge, then you're like, oh God, I got to do this, right? So once you write it down, then you're holding yourself accountable.
Yes.
And if you really want to hold yourself accountable, share it with the person next to you, because once you say it out loud, then you feel like you have to do it. So if you feel comfortable, share your goals out loud with people. And if you want, exchange numbers with them and tell them to call you to make sure that you're doing it. But it's better to write I will, or you could put inshallah, I will, instead of saying I want to, because then you kind of are forcing yourself to do it.
Right.
So let me know when you guys are done.
And don't forget, this doesn't have to be just, even though this is about self-healing and internalizing what keeps us down, it's also about helping our family members and our friends, right? So
Yeah.
there might be a situation that you're working on to help get your family member out, and you want to figure out how to break this wall down. You know you just can't knock this wall down, you have to take it down brick by brick. So maybe some of your goals can be that isolated. You know exactly what steps you have to take. What's the first thing you have to do? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do on Monday?
Yes.
Who are you going to call? Who are you going to call the following week? You know, what letter are you going to write? Like, it could be very focused steps like that as well. For a particular goal, for maybe relocating your family member to a closer prison or wherever it might be.
Okay, and keep that with yourself. If you want, you can write it on a different piece of paper, nice and big, put it on your fridge, but it does help. Okay, you're running.
This first page that is handwritten, these 3 columns. And we all have different mechanisms that we lean on to relieve stress, right? And this can be very private, right? So if you need to get away from people or whatever to write it out or fill it out, that's fine. But we all have things that we do to escape a little bit, to unwind. You know, we drink coffee, you might watch a lot of movies,
Shopping.
stare at the wall, shop. It could be a variety of things. A bunch of things that we use to escape, to just kind of cut the edge or to forget about what's happening or whatever. So try to make a list on the left-hand side of all the things that help you relieve stress. Whatever they are, good things, bad things, whatever, just it doesn't matter what they are. Be very personal, be very open with yourself, and just write what those things are. And in the next column, you're going to write down if you think that thing is actually good for you or bad thing. Is it something that's destructive or constructive? Okay? You might smoke, you might drink, you might do this, whatever it is in your life. We all have private things that we do that we don't share with people. Yeah. So write what that is.
On the left, write the things you do, like maybe watch movies, and then in the middle, you're gonna write C for constructive. That means it's positive, it's something good. Or D, if you think it's bad for you, like if you smoke to relieve stress, or if you spend all your money shopping and you think it's bad, you write D for
Good or
just-
bad. Maybe it depends on how much you do it or whatever. So if you need to write something other than constructive, deconstructive, you can do that too. And then the last column, write if you think you should be doing something different. Is there something that can help curb you away from that thing that you're doing? So if you watch movies too much, for example, is there something that you could be doing instead of watching movies that's more positive, that's more constructive, you know, something that can actually benefit you and your family in a much better way? Or is it something that you can enhance more? Is it something you think you need to do more of? You can write that too, and that's what augmentation for. And again, if you want to describe it in a different way, that's fine. But basically this process is just trying to analyze the things that we all do to kind of, you know, kill time or to relax ourselves.
I like to use the example of coffee. Like we all drink coffee and tea, right? To stay awake sometimes. But maybe instead of drinking tea and coffee, what's the root cause of that? Like why are we doing that? Because we're tired, so maybe we should sleep more, right? So an alternative would be to sleep better.